This is Optimal Finance Daily, episode 839. Is now a good time to buy a house or rental property? By Mr. PoP with ptmoney.com. And welcome to the Thursday edition of Optimal Finance Daily. I am Dan, and I'm here every weekday reading to you from some of the best personal finance blogs on the planet. And before we get started, I want to thank Fundrise for their continuing support. They're frequently mentioned as a recommended tool in the blogs that I narrate here, and for good reason. Fundrise enables you to instantly access high-quality, high-potential private market real estate projects, from high-rises in D.C. to multifamily apartments in L.A. And each real estate project is carefully vetted and actively managed by Fundrise's team of real estate pros. Fundrise is the future of real estate investing. Visit fundrise.com/OFD. That's fundrise.com/OFD to have your first 3 months of fees waived. For now, let's get right to our post as we start optimizing your life. Is now a good time to buy a house or rental property? By Mr. PoP with ptmoney.com. Lately, we've noticed a real increase in friends and family asking us about buying some real estate, either as a home or an investment property. At the same time, we can't turn on the radio or read the local news without hearing something positive about the health of the real estate market across the nation. It's tough to argue with the news. Mrs. PoP and I have done very well over the past few years by buying our home, a rental property, and a piece of land on a canal here in Florida. But what do we tell our friends when they ask us, is now a good time to buy a house? Well, it's complicated. Will equity increase enough? For most people, home ownership acts like a forced savings account with the hope of appreciation. You are putting some amount of money into an asset month after month, year after year, instead of giving it to your landlord and helping him slowly buy an asset. This amount of equity you buy per month is probably much smaller than you would think. The amount you send to the bank every month might be $850, but half of that amount could go to taxes and insurance, while 90% of the remaining payment goes to interest during the first part of the loan. Yuck! While you are slowly buying an asset that you also get to live in, raise a family in, and paint the walls any darn color you want, you're also hoping that the house appreciates. When people ask me, is now a good time to buy a house? What I think they really mean is, will I see significant appreciation in the future? By appreciation, we mean that the value of the house will increase faster than the rate of inflation, currently about 2%, but it averaged more like 3.35% over the past 100 years. It's not enough that your home increase in value. If it's not increasing in value by more than about 3% per year, you're buying an asset that is eating your wealth slowly. Okay, enough with the numbers. Should I buy some property or not? Almost done, we promise. See, despite the real estate bubble of 2003 to 2006, and despite the current rising market, if you adjust for inflation as a nation, our housing stock has outpaced inflation by a measly 0.1%. Now, this is a national average going back 100 years. Since it's at least keeping up with inflation, you're not losing money really. So if you're going to stay in one area for a while and have a 20% down payment, we say go for it. Get that 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house with a nice garage and the picket fence. But keep in mind, your home probably won't appreciate much more than the rate of inflation in the future, but you won't fall behind either. With that in mind, instead of buying more and more pieces of property, you might want to consider putting your money in the market, which has gained about 1.6% above inflation over the past 100 years or so. Hey, but you said you own a home, an income property, and some land on a canal. Yep, we do. Here's why we're still bullish on real estate. How we plan to beat inflation. We think it boils down to 2 reasons. First, we bought at a big discount during the crash a few years back. Those days of banks dumping foreclosures are behind us, unfortunately. This isn't to say that deals are not still out there. You'll just have to move quickly, have good financing or cash, and be ready to sift through the rocks to find your gem. We firmly believe that you make your money when you buy real estate, not when you sell it. The second reason we're doing well, and why we might tell others to make a real estate investment, is demographics. One of my favorite philosophers, Auguste Comte, once said, "Demographics is destiny." Applied to real estate, that means that if you happen to live in an area where more people will move to in the next 10 or 20 years, your land could appreciate quite well. Thanks to the census, we have a pretty good area of where people are going and how many are going there. If you are living in a geographic area with positive demographic trends, we feel this is the case for our home in Florida, then your returns on a real estate investment should be better than average. Demographics is driven by a lot of different factors. For example, Florida's birth rate is ranked number 40 of all the states, but our population has increased an average of 39% every 10 years since 1950. Like many of the states in the southeastern U.S., people are born elsewhere and move here for the nice weather and sandy beaches. Technology can be a driver as well. Air conditioning made living in Florida year-round much easier, and advances in healthcare allow people to live better and live longer, which in turn allows more people to retire to Florida in their golden years. For us, the retirement aspect is particularly important when you consider the number of baby boomers who will be retiring in the coming years. If the boomers continue the demographic trend set over the last 50 years, Florida could easily double in population in the next 50. While they are making more and more old people every day, we aren't making any more beachfront real estate. If the demand generated by a demographic wave like the retiring baby boomers gets focused on a scarce resource like waterfront lots, it's a good bet that the price will rise more quickly than the average. You just listened to the post titled, "Is Now a Good Time to Buy a House or Rental Property?" by Mr. PoP with PTmoney.com. And speaking of houses and rental properties, one way to invest in real estate without massive amounts of capital is to use a tool called Fundrise. It's frequently mentioned in articles from our authors right here on the show. Come by fundrise.com/OFD to have your first 3 months for free. Private market real estate has historically provided excellent ongoing cash flow, even as it supports long-term growth. Private market assets like these are a strategy for diversifying beyond public market investments and even other kinds of real estate like publicly traded REITs. And Fundrise is the future of real estate investing. The platform's innovations power an investor-first model by eliminating the bloated costs and middlemen that have traditionally weighed down real estate investing, saving investors time and money. Unparalleled transparency and real-time reporting let you see how the development of specific properties impact your overall portfolio. So check it out. Visit fundrise.com/OFD. That's FUNDRISE.com/OFD to have your first 3 months of fees waived. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening and have a great rest of your day. I will, of course, see you right back here tomorrow in the Friday show. That's where your optimal life awaits.